Follow last night for the Cubs. 4 ninth-inning walks. That turned the game to St. Louis.
It was a real good ball game. The Cubs played well in spots. They didn't execute at times, and when you're playing a good team, lack of execution will normally do you in. It did them in last night. But you turn the page, it's a very long year, and they'd like to split this series with a win here tonight.
Todd Walker to go to work first in the damp air of St. Louis, Missouri, and Sapon misses with a ball high. 1 ball, no strikes. Todd 0 for 4 in this series opener here last night. Sapon, a 1-year contract for the Cardinals. They're paying him $1 million to give him 200 innings, something he's done 5 straight years, and something, Steve, they've been in dire need of out of that Cardinal rotation.
Well, he can certainly do that. The question is, will he keep the ball in the park consistently? And Walker has hit him pretty well.
They were teammates last year with the Red Sox. 2-0 your count. And that's in for strike 1 here in the top of our first.
The Cardinals have some good young pitchers, but they're a while away from the major leagues. A guy that we saw last year, Danny Herron, is going to be a pretty good one, and he's getting a lot of needed experience in AAA right now.
2 balls and a strike to Todd Walker, and that one slashed down the left field line. Long run, Langford. The ball slicing toward the corner and foul and unplayable in left. Again, the game of inches comes back to haunt the Cubs here.
I don't like the trend. Last night the Cubs hit 3 balls that would have been out of the park but were barely foul. This one went down the line. It would have been at least 2 bases, and this one sliced barely foul.
And the way you can tell the wind circles around this ballpark, look over the electronic scoreboard in left. Right next to the American League scoreboard, they have a bunch of those World Championship banners for the Cardinals. The wind is blowing toward the left field foul pole. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Todd Walker here in our first. Fly ball, center field, playable for Jim Edmonds. And Walker's retired to open up our ball game tonight.
Well, as lively as the ball was last night, and although the guys didn't hit one another's pitching very well, it was a lively evening. Tonight, it seems, with the heavy air, it's going to be a little more difficult. The ball's still going to go out because it's 372 to the power alleys in both left and right center. But I think the outfielders can maybe take a step in. It's only 49 degrees, and that usually makes it a little tougher to hit it out.
Corey Patterson 1 for 3 in the game last night. A single, a walk, and a couple of runs scored. And he jumps at the first pitch. That's popped toward left. Boy, Corey has been so aggressive the first month plus of the season. And on 1 pitch, he's out number 2.
Swinging at the first pitch is okay if you get a pitch that you think you can drive. But for Corey, lifting fly balls to the left side on the first pitch, you're letting the pitcher get you out on his pitch.
Here comes Sammy. Sosa at 274, 5 home runs and 11 driven in. He too with 1 base hit in 4 tries last night.
A tremendous amount of Cub fans at the ballpark tonight.
Talking to Mike Shannon, the Cardinal broadcaster, he said he cannot ever remember so many Cub fans invading Cardinal Nation for this series.
Well, that's been the mania surrounding this team this year. They've always been very supportive. But this year they're coming out in droves everywhere.
What is a drove, by the way?
I think from a mathematical standpoint, it's about 10,000 per drove. So obviously they drove to get here, and now there's over 10,000 of them.
Has to be a very big drove. 1 ball, 1 strike. High pop, middle of the diamond. Albert Pujols at first calls everybody off, and Sapon has an easy first inning. Matt Clement to the mound, looking for his 4th straight win here in St. Louis.
Fuel-efficient SUVs.
Look at Tony La Russa's lineup card for Game 2 of the series. Former Cub Tony Womack leads things off. He had a good start last night. Ray Langford in left. Albert Pujols is the first baseman. Jim Edmonds in center. Scott Rowland, sorry to see the month of April end. He had 27 RBIs for St. Louis last month. Edgar Renteria is the shortstop. Then it's Reggie Sanders. Young Cody McKay gives Mike Matheny the night off. And Jeff Sapon will pitch in bat 9th.
There's a look at Matt Clement, who's searching for his 4th win in this his 5th start. Opponent's batting average a minuscule 159. But that'll be put to the test tonight because of the left-handers in the lineup. And normally, if Matt has any problems at all, he has it with the left-hand hitters. His slider has been devastating this year. That's one of the reasons why the right-handers have had so many problems. But they've got Womack. Langford has really hit him very well. And then you have to deal with Edmonds. And that could be a problem, although Edmonds, career-wise, in just a small sampling, 6 at-bats, has only 1 hit.
Womack, a couple of hits and a run scored for the Cardinals. Again, he's coming back from Tommy John surgery on his right arm, which is the throwing arm. And Steve, for this Cardinal team, a club that lost Fernando Vigneault to the Detroit Tigers, both Tony Womack and Marlon Anderson have filled in very capably, while Bo Hart gets some more seasoning at AAA.
Womack's the key for me. If you don't get him out, he sets up this entire lineup. This is a very potent lineup. They've got a chance of leading the league in home runs, and Womack gives them the speed that they desperately seek.
They lead the league right now with 40 of them. And Matt Clement gets the call over the outside corner. 2 balls and a strike to Tony Womack.
I'd like to see Moises move in a little bit more in left field. It's going to be pretty tough footing out there, raining most of the day.
And remember, the baseball is going to be wet when it gets out there too. Womack lays down a bunt foul at third. Cardinals bunted very successfully last night. It says a lot about this Cardinal offense, which we've said can hit the ball out of the ballpark better than anybody else in our league. They also have more sacrifices than anybody else in the National League right now.
I talked with Rick Hummel, who writes for the Post-Dispatch, and he told me he can't remember any game that they've been together that Edmonds and Roland have bunted in the same game, let alone the attempts in the same inning. And those are the power guys in the middle of this lineup at 4 and 5, and Roland got the sacrifice down.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Tony Womack. No score in our first tonight. And a slow roller. Clement will try to get there. Can't lead. Quick shovel. Did they get him? No. Ball dropped. Womack's on here in the first.
I think they would have had him, but the key on this is just get to the bag. Matt Clement got off the mound but couldn't get the ball, and then he had to locate the bag and the ball simultaneously, and Womack got a base hit.
He's 7 for 7 in steals, so let's see if they run him in the first.
Well, if Matt could have held on to this throw, they would have had him at first base. But he doesn't. Again, a play that you work on in spring training. But when you don't make it, you open up the door for these very potent Cardinals to put some runs up early.
Langford, as Steve mentioned, 5 for 11 against Matt Clement in his career. He's hitting .280 on the season for St. Louis. A man who did not play last year while recovering from injuries has won the left field job for the Cardinals. Downstairs again, it's rained heavily again in St. Louis today. They applied 6 or 7 bags of the Diamond Dry surface on that infield. You can see the light swirls of it. The footing figures to be pretty heavy again tonight. Let's see if that affects Womack from first.
This team has swiped 21. They've been caught 7 times.
That's in to even the count at a ball and a strike.
Well, you have to watch out for Langford now, and you didn't have to before, was in left and left center field. He shortened up his swing. They've convinced him that in order to cut down the strikeouts, you have to wait a little longer and take the ball the other way on occasion, and he's been doing that now.
He had an RBI last night with a sacrifice fly. That's upstairs, ball 2. 2-1 to Ray Langford. Albert Pujols on deck. Will hit next.
I would say if you can hit the ball on the ground, you can turn to, because the footing up the first base line is going to be particularly heavy.
No movement from first, and he took something off. Good pitch. 2-2 now. That's a valuable weapon for Matt. Doesn't have a changeup per se, but he can change speeds on the pitches he does have.
Well, he changes speeds on the slider, and when it's good, it's real good. But when he's not hitting his spots, he holds on to it a little too long and throws it in the dirt.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Still no movement from first. And a cue ball shot rolls foul and out of play by Ray Langford. Cubs made a change in their pitching rotation. If you didn't hear about this, Sergio Mitre was scheduled to start Monday. The Cubs moved Greg Maddux to Monday. Keep him on his regular turn of 4 days of rest. Mitre will pitch against the Diamondbacks Tuesday night at home.
Well, if there's any decent footing out there, you figure Womack to be running because you figure Langford's going to see a slider at 2-2. Barrett's got his fingers taped again tonight to give a little better visibility to the pitcher.
2-2, runner goes. The ball in the dirt. No chance for Michael. It's a stolen base for Womack. He's 8 for 8.
Good call by Tony La Russa in sending him because you figure a slider's coming. When Clement misses, it goes in the dirt. And Womack got a very good jump. You can see it here. Barrett does a nice job, but can't even think about throwing him out.
So an RBI chance for Langford. First base open, but Pujols waiting next. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Right back where it came from into center field. Womack around third. Patterson up cleanly. No play. It's 1-0 St. Louis. Not getting to the first base bag. Very costly here in the first inning. And the little miscues the Cubs are making, the Cardinals are cashing all of them in so far in this series.
Langford's driven in 6 and 2 hitters, 1 stolen base and 1 run later. You can't open the door for a good offensive team. This one taken right back up the middle. Fortunately misses Clement on its way into center field. And Jose Oquendo just waves around Tony Womack. When he gets on, he finds a way to score.
So here's Albert Pujols. He was 1 for 3 last night. Scored the game-winning run for the Cardinals in the ninth. And the lone right-handed bat among the first 4 in the Cardinal lineup card tonight. Let's see if Matt can get a ground ball here. He can't. Fly ball center should be caught by Corey. He'll come galloping in a few steps. One-handed catch retires Albert Pujols. Now back to the lefties. It's Jim Edmonds. Edmonds at 286. He's hit 5 and driven in 16 for the Cardinals.
Langford did something on the last pitch which I have a hard time understanding, and that's that fake break at first base. You take a quick step and then all your momentum is stopped. If the guy does get a hit, you got to start from a dead stop instead of taking a smaller lead if you're not stealing and then walking towards second.
That's over the inside corner to Jim Edmonds, who brings a 5-game hit streak into our game tonight.
He's only grounded into 1 double play, largely because he's got an uppercut swing. He will strike out a lot and he hits a lot of fly balls.
That one handcuffed him, but he lays off. 1 ball, 1 strike. Cardinals 5-9 at home so far this year. That's shockingly bad for this Cardinal team. They've always had good luck on their home turf. Ball 2, 2-1 to the St. Louis center fielder. And the big problem for the Cardinals has been walks and home runs allowed by their pitching staff in this ballpark. We hope that continues with Jeff Sappan on the mound.
Well, the division is certainly bunched up as coming into play. The Cubs and Houston tied atop the division.
2 balls and a strike. Sharply hit to Walker. He'll spear, flip to second for 1, on to first 2. Edmonds hits it right on the screws, but the Cubs turn a nifty double play to retire the side. Cardinals get 1 in the first. To the second we go, down a single run.
Or drop off your bike free of charge at our bike check service located at the corner of Clark and Waveland. For more information, visit www.cubs.com.
Tomorrow, Maglio Ordonez and the White Sox will be put to the test. They'll take on Carlos Delgado and the Toronto Blue Jays. It's White Sox Blue Jays tomorrow at 1:30 only on Fox Sports Net. Underway in St. Louis. Cubs down a run. We go to the second. Alu, Ramirez, and Derek Lee are coming up. And a rocket hit deep to right. Long run, Sanders at the warning track. At the wall. He makes the running catch for out number 1.
Last night, or most other nights, that's out of the ballpark because you're taking it to the shortest part of the park, and that one slicing away from Sanders, who did a nice job. Mo swinging at the first pitch. It's hit awfully well. It's up and away, and he thought for a moment that it had a chance of going out of the ballpark. But the air is very thick, very heavy, and below 50 degrees, the ball just doesn't travel all that well.
That'll bring up Aramis Ramirez. He's hitting .308 with 19 batted in and 6 home runs. And that's back toward us and out of play for a strike. Plenty of other baseball to talk about already today. The Giants beat Florida 6-3. Barry Bonds today intentionally walked 4 times today by the Florida Marlins. Braves are playing a double dip in Colorado. The Rockies beat them 3-2 in Game 1 at Coors Field today. They were snowed out yesterday. 0-2 to Aramis Ramirez in the Cubs second. 1 ball, 1 strike. Reds have just tied Houston 2-2 in the second inning down at Minute Maid Park. Astros behind Roger Clemens, victorious yesterday.
Hard to believe that Clemens went 5-0 in April.
And that's the first time he's ever done that. That's remarkable.
Well, a guy that was going to just retire at 310 wins has started out now tacking 5 more, and he's starting to catch the few guys that are ahead of him on the win list.
1-2 to Ramirez. Slow roller hit toward his counterpart at third. Scott Rowland. 2 out.
What Rowland did on that was a lesson to all you young players, whether you're a third baseman or any part of the infield, is come in and choose your own hop. He played that ball very aggressively. If he waits back on this, he's got some problems. But watch, he charges and then reaches down and picks out the hop that he wants to play it, knowing that with the heavy footing, he's got to get to it. He got it across in plenty of time, and he beat Ramirez by 3 steps.
Derek Lee had an infield hit in last night's ball game. Derek's still stuck on 2 home runs, however, for the Cubs. He's driven home 11.
I'd like to see the Cubs work a few longer counts against Suppan.
He's had a pretty easy time of it to this point. That's right through there to even it up. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I think the Cardinals already are ecstatic with what they've gotten from Suppan because they never really knew what he would do out of spring training. He's periodically had pretty good stuff, but has never been a big winner in the major leagues.
Again, you look at this Cardinal team as far as their starters are concerned, because of injury, because of Darryl Kyle's untimely passing, they've been forced to patch it together in that rotation. You figure if Morris can stay healthy, if Woody Williams can stay healthy, if Suppan can give them 200 innings.
Well, they're waiting for Herron and Wainwright. Wainwright they acquired from the Atlanta Braves. And they feel that those 2 guys will help them fill in. And their choice really next year, they've got Matt Morris, who makes a whole lot of money, and Woody Williams coming to the end of his contract. They got to pick one of those guys and then fill in with the 2 youngsters.
Which means what with Edgar Renteria?
They're going to make him priority number 1. And that one
just missed, I suppose. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
I think that Derek might have gotten a break there. We'll watch it again. McKay wants it there, and that angle it looked like it probably was down.
Full count now, bases clear in the Cubs' second inning of play tonight. And there's your first Cub base runner. Derek Lee takes ball 4. And that'll bring up shortstop Alex Gonzalez.
Saban came out as a highly touted youngster from the Boston Red Sox organization. He got to Boston originally in 1995. He went 7-3 in '97 before going to the Diamondbacks in '98, where he was a miserable 1-7 with an ERA just under 7. Had some decent years with Kansas City. Last year split his time between Pittsburgh, and he went back to Boston. He was acquired as a free agent.
Alex Gonzalez 1 for 4 last night. A cue ball shot to the right side. Sapan's going to pick it up and flip underhanded to Pujols to retire the side. No runs, no hits, 1 left. Cardinals 1, Cubs nothing in the middle of our second inning.
And I think the best is yet to come of this staff, and we've seen what this staff can do already, and they're only getting better, and I think that's the most impressive thing.
Well, Michael's done a terrific job the last couple of weeks behind the plate. He's improved markedly, and that ball popped up off the bat of Scott Rowland and near the screen. Michael can't make a play, and a fan with a head burger.
Oh,
if this was soccer, that young fan would have been Pele.
Well, I think it's a young lady, and she had a hood on, and I think she got hit right in the head with that one. Well, maybe the hood will cushion the blow, but probably not.
Had it been either you or me, the echo would have been heard for miles. 0-2.
I'd have still been down. Michael Barrett comes back, and wow, way to protect your wife.
No balls, 2 strikes. And down goes Scott Rowland.
When Matt's got that slider working to right-handers, he's awfully tough, especially if they try to pull it. This is a guy that doesn't try to pull the slider. That's Edgar Renteria. Rowland, who's red hot, saw that slider just disappear out of the zone.
Here's another guy for the Cardinals who wishes Matt Clement would disappear. He's 1 for 18 against him lifetime, and that man, of course, the aforementioned Edgar Renteria.
He's hard to strike out, however. He's fanned just 7 times this year. And with Clement, he'll try to go back up the middle or right center, but in the course of his career, he hasn't had too much luck with that.
That's over the outside corner, and it's even. And a ball and a strike. I'd just as soon see Edgar Renteria, if he doesn't want to come play for the Cubs, go over to the American League someplace.
He's a lifelong National Leaguer, and I can understand if you've spent your whole career in one league, not wanting to move to the other league and have to relearn either all of the hitters, like in the case of Greg Maddux, or all of the pitchers in the case of Renteria.
High hopper hit towards short. Alex has to wait for the big bounce and makes a perfect throw. 2 outs here in our second inning, and Reggie Sanders comes up, as does Matt Clement's rankings against the National League.
You can tell why Matt Clement is 3-1 and why he's off to one of the better starts of his career.
He's rolling by the river again tonight, but down a run in the second with Reggie Sanders in the box. Sanders, a home run last night. Not this time, though. Another chance for Alex. He'll glove, grab, and gun him out. Clement a 1-2-3 second. All right, Cubbies, let's see if we can get the bats rolling in the third inning. Cardinals 1, Cubs nothing. Strongly encourage the use of public transportation going to and from Cubs games. The CTA Red Line stops directly at Wrigley Field at the Addison Station. For night and weekend games at Wrigley, fans who do drive should take advantage of the remote parking operations. They offer parking at DeVry University near Addison and Western for only $6. That includes a free shuttle bus ride to and from Wrigley Field. For more details, call the CTA hotline at 773-836-7000. Michael Barrett scalds that to center. Edmonds makes a basket catch, and there's one away on 1 pitch again in our third tonight.
Well, the Cubs are acting as if they have dinner reservations right around 9:30 and would like to get there, because they have swung at a lot of pitches early in the count. Now, Michael Barrett took me through his thought process on his third base hit last night. It was after the double play in the 9th inning, so there was 2 outs, nobody on, and he was facing Cal Eldred. And he said, I knew he wouldn't come inside to me because he didn't want me to hit the ball out of the ballpark. I looked away, and that was a base hit he hit to right field. So thinking like that as a catcher along with the opposing pitcher, it's a pretty good thought process. He looked away the whole at bat, finally got a good pitch and took it that way and turned into his third hit of the night.
Matt Clement 2 for 8 so far at the plate for the Cubs. And he looks at a called first strike. A cue ball shot toward Pujols at first, and again an early count out. Just 2 pitches retires the pitcher Matt Clement. Back to the top we go, and Todd Walker. Walker flied to Edmonds in our first inning of play. The long road back for Mark Pryor, Mike Remlinger, and Ryan Dempster apparently has begun in Mesa. All 3 of those Cubs pitchers beginning their rehabilitation facing live hitting.
Mark threw 15 pitches today, threw 5 breaking balls, and reported that he felt pretty good.
Ryan Dempster threw an inning yesterday. Mike Remlinger, we hope, will be back at 100% along with the others as well real quick. So fellas, if you're watching tonight, we miss you here in St. Louis. Walker looks at a called strike. 1 ball, 1 strike, your count. Hitting is cyclical. Pitching is cyclical. Sometimes defense can be cyclical, and alas for the Cubs on this road trip, they haven't done much with the bats. They've scored 8 runs and have 26 hits in the first 4 games. And that despite some pretty good pitching. They haven't been able to muster enough offense to split the first 4 games yet.
Well, normally in this situation, Walker hits the ball pretty hard if he gets a strike. He's been taking a whole lot of walks this year, and if Suppan doesn't get in the zone, you figure he would take the walk.
3 balls, 1 strike. He thought he earned ball 4. It's full count though, 3-2.
He looked back at Larry Young and thought that one was low and thought it was away. I can't say as I blame him. McKay yanked that one back about 3 or 4 inches.
Base is clear now, 3-2. Rolling well off the line at third. And Walker pops it straight back and out of play. And Todd asks Larry Young, was that a strike? Some managers don't like it when their hitters do that. Because they feel sometimes it reinforces in the mind of the umpire that the hitter himself isn't aware of what the strike zone is.
No, but he wants to know where the zone is going to be on that given night. And you make friends with the umpire, who in the end does have his fate, your fate, in his hands.
Fly ball center field. Edmonds coming on. Diving try. And from the shoot tops, Edmonds comes up with another highlight reel catch. 3 up, 3 down in the 3rd inning of play. Walker robbed by Edmonds, and the Cardinals lead by 1.
Come with me. I will love you. I won't let you start a war for her.
Tomorrow, join Ron Kittle, Joe Girardi, Kevin Kennedy, and Steve Stone for Chicago Baseball Extra, presented by Coldwell Banker Residential Brokerage. It's the only sports show you need on Sunday night. Chicago Baseball Extra tomorrow at 10 on Fox Sports Net.
Jim Edmonds comes across and just barely gets a glove under it, or so it appears. So you can actually flip a coin at home. It certainly looked to Mike Everett as if he caught it. And Todd Walker berating Jim Edmonds for robbing him of a hit.
Here's Cody McKay, son of the man manning the first base coaching box for the Cardinals. Dave McKay, what a thrill it's got to be for the McKay family to travel together in the big leagues.
I'm sure that it's very entertaining, but he better start hitting or they won't be traveling together too long.
A cue ball shot toward Derek Lee at first. Matt Clement gets another ground ball out.
It would appear that Cody's not going to stay here on his speed.
One away for Sapon, who looks for his first hit as a Cardinal here. He struck out twice in 6 at-bats.
Matt has settled down somewhat, and he just bulldozed his way through the second with 3 right-hand hitters. So if he gets 2 up and 2 down, then you get to face Womack at the tail end of an inning instead of leading off the inning, which is always preferable.
Roller toward short. Alex has been busy, handles the funny hop, and takes care of Jeff Sapon. Time for our Buick opinion poll tonight from Busch Stadium. Which rivalry is your favorite? Cubs and Cardinals, Cubs and Astros, Cubs and Sox, or the Cubs and the Brewers? Log on to fsnchicago.com and we'll have the results on the postgame show tonight.
It's pretty interesting. And you would get people who would make a case for a lot of different rivalries with the Cubs. For me, it's real hard to beat this particular rivalry that we're watching unfold here in St. Louis. There's just a special feeling about games with the Cardinals. You can imagine what the people are feeling down in those dugouts.
Well, everybody talks, of course, in the East about the Yankees and the Red Sox. And while it certainly has a great deal of impact and interest for New England, when you just consider the geographical area that these two teams generate as far as fan interest is concerned, this rivalry blows that one away as far as I'm concerned.
Also, don't remember there was a time when these were the 2 most Western teams in baseball. And so, for instance, when you listen to your grandfather Harry, KMOX, he would be heard all over the central part and a part of the West with Cardinal baseball in those days.
2-0 to Womack. Yeah, they used to say this. You could hear the signal of KMOX out of St. Louis, WGN out of Chicago, all the way down in the Florida Panhandle, west of the Rockies. Jack Brickhouse, Jack Buck, Harry Carey, Hall of Famers all. Frankly, raised an entire generation of baseball fans over, again, 2/3 of the country, geographically speaking. Out of play by Womack. That's why I think that this rivalry, as far as baseball is concerned, is bigger and better than the Yankees and the Red Sox, bigger than the Dodgers and the Giants. You've been involved as a player or broadcaster in 2 of the 3 of those. Certainly in Baltimore, you had a rivalry with both of those clubs.
And Baltimore, because they were very good at the same time, and the Yankees have been good for a long time, that was a pretty intense rivalry. But the Dodgers and the Giants, because of their days back in New York, is also pretty heated.
Full count, 3-2. I was talking to Derek Lee about it walking into the clubhouse today. I said, well, how about game 1 of this rivalry? All he said was, man, it was cool. He really enjoyed his taste of it. 3-2, and Clement loses Womack. He's on for the 2nd time in the game, and even with 2 outs, the Cardinals will not be shy about trying to move him into scoring position here.
Now, if they have a choice, they're going to force Barrett to throw out Womack because you'd rather lead off with Langford than Pujols. So, best case scenario for the Cubs, you throw out Womack. They still would rather lead off with a left-hand hitter next inning because Clement is deadly against the right-hander. So I personally don't like to run on the first pitch only because it's so easy to pitch out. But if you do pitch out, you put your pitcher in a hole 1-0 if he's not running. So there's arguments on both sides of that equation.
Langford has the game's only RBI to this point. And no movement from first, ball inside. Let's see if he's moving on pitch number 2 of the sequence.
Well, if you're Langford, knowing that you got a base runner at first, you're looking for a fastball away here because that's the easiest ball for Barrett to throw.
No movement. And he took something off, and Langford has an even count now.
He threw a good slider away, and Langford took it, and no movement yet. You can see the taped fingers of Michael Barrett. It's not easy to grab the baseball with your fingers taped.
Runner goes. Good jump. Fly ball hit to right. Sammy will give a little ground, but he's under it, and that'll retire the side in the Cardinal third. Corey Patterson goes to work in the fourth. Cubs down a skinny run here in St. Louis.
9 on Fox Sports Net.
Ricky goes.
Well, let's take a look at a flashback. Hard to believe it was 13 years ago that Ricky Henderson became baseball's all-time stolen base king, surpassing Lou Brock, former Cub, former Cardinal.
And with characteristic great humility, he takes the base right out of the ground and forces them to use another one.
Here's Corey Patterson.
I don't think anybody will ever catch him because base running, especially in those kind of numbers, are pretty much legislated out of an era where everybody's thinking about hitting the ball out of the ballpark.
When you look back, Lou Brock, Vince Coleman, Willie McGee for the Cardinals, for example, those were 90 and 100 stolen base a year men. There are teams that don't even approach those numbers anymore because it's become American League style baseball. Hit the 3-run home run.
I was going to say, we look at one every day and they're wearing blue this evening.
High fly ball by Patterson, a shoulder high pitch that's lofted into center where Edmonds has been characteristically busy. That's the fourth putout retired by Jim Edmonds tonight.
I pitched against Lou Brock and he would lead off with Ted Sizemore in the 2 spot. And he took the shortest lead for a great base stealer I've ever seen. So how many times did Lou Brock have 100 or more stolen bases in a single season? I'll say once at 118.
He did have 118 one year, and he had it down to a science too. As Sosa stands in, Lou Brock said from first to second on a stolen base attempt, it's 11 strides and a slide.
Well, he was truly an amazing base runner.
Sammy Sosa popped out his first time.
Cardinals have done a nice job of keeping the ball up on Sammy. But Suppan doesn't throw all that hard. He should get a good pitch to hit here.
He did get a good pitch, ripped it straight back.
It's raining ever so slightly here in St. Louis, not enough to disturb anything or hold up the ball game.
Just 2 hits in the ball game, both by the Cardinals, both in the first inning, and that's led to the game's only run to this point.
There's a couple of friends just battling it out. Looks like William Hung has come to the ball game tonight.
And Sosa trying to he-bang that baseball out of the ballpark. Foul it away. 2-2. Is he singing?
I believe that the ace staff of the marketing department, led by John McDonough, Jay Blunk,
who, as we know, are dining.
Joe Rios, of course.
Yes.
Are going to jump right on that, and I think they're going to get him. Sparing no expense, might I add, to do that.
That is if John and Jay can finish baking the fresh bran muffins that they have come to enjoy on a nightly basis with us. 3 balls, 2 strikes. One nothing St. Louis, an early lead tonight. Did he go around? He did not. A ball inside. Suppan wanted the call, didn't get it, and the Cubs have their second base runner of the game. Good at bat for Sosa.
I'm going to go out on the line here, Chippy Boy, and make the first prediction of the night. I'm going to predict that Moises Alou breaks up the no-hitter. Suppan likes to throw the fastball inside, and Sammy was able to take that one, and he's aboard. So the Cubs have their second walk of the night. They trail by the 1 run that Tony Womack scored in the first inning, and it would be a delightful time for Moises to break up the no-hitter.
And like last night, it's still a real tough time for the hitters to pick up the spin on the baseball, especially so with the wet weather conditions here. But until it gets completely dark, the advantage definitely goes to both starting pitchers at this point. Moises hit a rocket to right that Reggie Sanders tracked down in the corner to rob him of an extra base hit. And another rope into right field. Stoney, when you go out on a line, you're right unless you're wrong. There's the first Cub hit. 2 are on with 1 man out. Here's Aramis Ramirez.
Well, there are some folks that believe that it's tape delayed so that it's a lot easier to make the call after the event happens.
I've heard that once in a while said.
As we know, this is not radio, this is television, and Moises takes that ball into right field and breaks up the no-hitter. And that sends McKay out to the mound to talk with Suppan. It is raining now, a little more insistent, so it would behoove the Cubs to score a couple here and get ahead of these pesky birds and get the 5 innings in. Matt Clement has settled down, but he's got to go through the heart of the order next inning.
And looking in the upper deck down the right field line where the Cubs fans reside, they are really making some noise now. 2 on, 1 out. Cubs bats have their first hit of the night. High fly ball belted left field pretty deep. Langford back, hit the track, hit the wall. She's gone, and the Cubs have the lead. McKay said serve up a 3-run homer, but he just did, and the Cub fans have silenced the birdhouse for the moment.
And Ramirez now leads his team in runs batted in. Remus crushed that ball to left field. He's driven in 22. The walk, the base hit, the 3-run homer, along with airtight pitching, a formula for winning baseball games.
So here's Derek Lee. Cubs are in front 3-1 on 2 hits in our 4th, and this has been the time for Suppan where sometimes the needle on the gas gauge starts to quiver a bit. Popped up right side, dodging the raindrops is Pujols, and Albert puts it away for the 2nd out. This ball was crushed, folks. Heavy atmosphere here.
Ramirez hits number 7. He knows it's gone when it left the bat. He just stands and admires that one. And the Cubs take a 2-run lead.
Still a long way to go, but there's no sweeter sound than hearing the Cardinal fans stop chirping. Here's Alex. He bounced out his first time up. And the ball high to the Cubs shortstop. The Cardinals at home continue to get hammered as far as the home run ball is concerned. Their team ERA here approaching 6 runs a game. And Steve, that's just shocking.
Well, you look at those graphics in those other parks, normally are real easy to hit the ball out. This usually isn't.
There's another shot right center field. Edmonds on his horse, as they say here. That ball's off the base of the wall, and Alex in at second with a stand-up double.
Well, I think now if you're Tony La Russa, you tell him to put Barrett on first base and go after Clement. Alex hit this ball awfully hard. Suppan got it up. He doesn't have good enough stuff to get the ball up in the zone and get it by people. I'd be real surprised if they pitched to Barrett.
And they will walk him. That'll be 3 in the game. First intentional pass of the night. Listen to these Cub fans here in St. Louis. And now I think he balked.
He did balk. I think he went up to start his stretch and then didn't know that McKay was standing up, and he stopped.
And Hopefully he'll lollipop one of these intentional pitches out of the strike zone. A few feet short. Maybe the Cubs could pick up a cheap run.
That happened this last week, by the way, on an intentional walk. And I can't remember which team, but I saw the highlight of a run scoring on an intentional walk with a man at third.
And that's why they will never take away the
Sure, because you never know what's going to happen. Of course, you could just stand on the mound and go to your mouth 4 times, but
not a good idea with a base runner on, however.
No.
So they're at the corners, 2 outs. Let's see if Matt Clement can help himself here. Matt bounced out to Albert Pujols. Cubs pick up their first 3 hits of the game, their first 3 runs of the game, and have a 3-1 4th inning lead.
Matt Clement's numbers are not good career-wise, but the last couple of years he's actually worked on his hitting, and it's a little bit better.
Good looking cut. 0-1 to Matt Clement.
We remember the 3-hit night in Pittsburgh.
For a lot of reasons. That was a big ball game for Matt. 0-1. Broken bat, Squibber towards second. Womack had it handcuff him for a moment, but that will indeed retire the side. Aramis Ramirez entered the game with 2 RBIs this year on the road. He picks up 3 more with 1 swing of the bat, and the Cubs now lead in St. Louis 3-1.
Friends before, during, or after the game at the Friendly Confines. Near the corner of Addison and Sheffield, the Friendly Confines offers easy access in and out of the game. Enjoy Cubs ambience inside or order from the grill and relax in the outdoor patio.
Cubs take the lead just in time for the answer to our Aflac trivia question. How many times did Lou Brock have 100 stolen bases or more in a single season? And Steve guessed once. That, I think, is the right answer. Yep, 1974 with 100.
How about that?
18.
I'm hot tonight. Let's go to dinner and you buy.
As the French say, plus ça change.
You showed me your humble beginnings all around the suburban St. Louis area today. It is very pretty in the suburbs here. A chance to go see Ladue and Clayton and some of the other areas. There's beautiful homes there.
Unfortunately, neither of us have stately manners quite like those.
Now, those are old and,
well,
nothing like old money.
Of which, obviously, you have a lot since you never buy dinner. Here's Pujols. Albert looks at strike 1 from Matt Clement. By the way, an alert fan tells us that it was Terry Adams that uncorked the wild pitch on the intentional.
Tampa. Yes, I remember that now.
Derek
all
Page,
coming back to me.
Big Cub fan.
The synapses are clicking and playing up that mental replay as we speak. He looked very distraught when he made that pitch.
As did, I'm sure, Carlos Tasca, his manager. 1-1 pitch to Pujols. Beaten into the ground. Clement's getting ground balls now. That's a sign he has settled down. 1 away in the 4th. Boy, it is a much more comfortable feel even up here looking at this Cardinal team without Womack and Langford back to back.
Well, if you can get by Edmonds, then you have Roland, Renteria, and Sanders, the 3 right-handers that Clement took care of in the 2nd inning. But Edmonds hit the ball awfully hard in that 1st inning, but he grounded into a double play.
Todd Walker started it. Alex turned it at 2nd. Mark Mazzolana continues to travel with the team and rehab his Achilles. He's looking more and more like if he's going to be activated anytime soon, it'll be when we get back to Chicago.
If you missed the announcement yesterday, the Cubs sent down Michael Wirtz and brought up Glendon Rush, so they have another left-hander in their bullpen. And that's always good to mix and match late in the game. It's tough to do it with 1 left-hander.
That's off the plate to Edmonds. Ball 2, strike 1 to the Cardinal center fielder. As
soon as Grzelcyk does come off the DL, I think the Cubs will go to 11 pitchers and give Dusty one more move off the bench, something that he hasn't had.
Bats trying to keep the ball away from Edmonds, and you've said several times there is one particular spot that a right-hand pitcher can get him.
Yeah, high and away. If he's swinging at it, it's usually the upper end of the strike zone, and sometimes you don't get the call. But that's the ball that he lifts lazily to left or left center field.
That one, though, in the sweet spot and line to left center field. Cubs will try to cut it off and can't. Edmonds on his way to second, where he'll stand with a double. 6-game hit streak for Edmonds.
That was not the high fastball away. Edmonds has hit him hard twice. We'll watch it again. And as you can see, that ball is about just above knee high, and Edmonds loves that pitch. So he crushes it into the gap, winds up at second base. Now you have to deal with one of the hottest hitters in the major leagues in the month of April. But the calendar has turned over, and he's 0 for 1 in May. So he's cooled off considerably.
He, of course, being Scott Rowland. He struck out leading off the second inning. And for right-handers, that slider is just wiping them out to this point.
Well, they've got Rowland on a long-term contract, as well as Pujols. And they figure that they're going to do it the same thing to Renteria and keep their building blocks here for a while.
1 strike pitch to Rowland. In the dirt, there's Michael Barrett. Again, first week of the season, he might not have made that play. That's not a knock on Michael. Defensively, Steve, he's really gotten much more comfortable and effective to my.
Well, he told me that he's really working hard on this particular play, and he's got to with the Cubs staff, because they do have great stuff, and because when they go to wipe out hitters, it's out of the strike zone, usually down with the breaking ball. And that includes Clement, Zambrano, Wood, Pryor when he gets back. They all have great stuff, and they all use that breaking ball that dips late and into the dirt.
That just missed. Matt Clement chasing down his 3rd career 4-game win streak in St. Louis tonight. A team he's never beaten. He's throwing real well so far. 2 balls and a strike, and Rowland gets plunked.
And you notice that he didn't really exert himself to get out of the way of that. He knows that they're 2 runs down. He knows they need base runners. So watch him. This is a slider, and he doesn't move. He just lowers his shoulder so it appears he's trying to get out of the way. He actually turns into it. You're not going to get that call if you're the Cubs, but that shows you that Rowland doesn't mind, as they say, taking one for the club.
Second time this year Rowland's been hit by a pitch. And now there are 2 on for the Cardinals with 1 out. Edgar Renteria, the shortstop, and Clement will get a new baseball here. It's raining ever so briskly here at Busch Stadium. Got to get 5 innings in for this one to be an official game. Cubs lead it 3-1. Hits are even 3 apiece.
Renteria is grounded into just 1 double play this year.
That's off the plate. Surprisingly, Steve, though, with men at second or third base this year, Renteria has not been very productive for them. 1 for 16 with men in scoring position, is one of the best run-producing shortstops in all of baseball.
Well, he has been up until this season. He's just off to a slow start. And now Barrett going out there to talk with Clement. You have to have a whole lot more concentration on a night where the rain continues to come down, because it's tough to keep a good consistent grip on the baseball.
That's what I was going to ask you. You, like Clement, were a breaking ball pitcher. How do you, or if anything, what can you do to not spin one up there with the wet conditions? You've got the rosin.
Yeah, they give you the rosin bag, which is almost useless. You try to keep the ball as dry as possible, and if it does get some moisture on it, you just ask for another one.
1 ball, 1 strike to Renteria.
Or over the course of their careers, and I'll fill you in a little bit more after this pitch. There has been the nefarious pitcher or two that would just consider using some pine tar somewhere on his uniform, and
I can't believe it.
Get a better grip. Now the pitcher would never intentionally put it there, but if, say, your bat came in contact with a piece of the uniform, sometimes you find it there.
2 balls and a strike to Renteria. Ground ball up the middle. Alex steps on the pillow, fires to first. There is the double play, and that'll retire the side. We're through 4 with the lead at Busch Stadium. Cubs playing very crisp baseball. 3-1 your score.
Excuse me, but I was looking for the showroom.
Time for a Pontiac in-game update. I'm Gail Fisher inside the Fox Sports Net newsroom. Let's get you caught up on some NL Central scores. Cincinnati and Houston in a close one. Wade Miller gave up a home run to Brandon Larson in the 2nd inning. This one all tied up in the 5th at 3. Pittsburgh jumped on Milwaukee early in the 1st, putting up 3 runs. They lead the Brewers now 7-1 in the 5th inning. Rob Makoviak also went yard in that game. More highlights and scores in the postgame show. First, let's send you back to St. Louis.
All right, Gail, thank you very much. Hope the Achilles is doing better here tonight. Cubs doing better as well. They lead by a pair and have the top of the order coming up against right-hander Jeff Sapon. Todd Walker has flied out twice. Edmonds with a terrific diving catch. Robbed him last time.
Tony La Russa went to the bullpen with 4 relievers last night. And this came on the heels of a 13-inning affair with Philadelphia in a series where the Cardinals used a whole lot of that pen, so he needs some innings out of Suppan tonight.
Walker would like to get our Toyota fan of the game inning started successfully. Tom Sullivan from Hickory Hills, Illinois, the contestant. And a slow roller back to the mound will retire him. If the Cubs score here in the 5th, Tom Sullivan of Hickory Hills, Illinois, wins a Fox Sports Net Toyota prize package, which includes a hat and a t-shirt.
Well, Corey should take a look at where Rolen is setting up, and this might be the time to bunt. It's going to be a wet baseball that Rolen's going to have to throw. Now you see when he looked up and saw it was Patterson, he did move in on the grass.
Balls and a strike to Corey, who's popped out and flied out tonight. That one down the left field line, twisting away from Langford, who nears the line and the stands. And in the corner, Patterson's retired for the 2nd out.
Corey might need a little work with Sarge Matthews, because it seems to me that he's dipping his shoulder and then your first move is up, and when that happens you just keep popping the ball in the air, especially in the air to the left side. That's not Corey's game, and he's been an easy 0 for 3 caller so far.
And 4 for his last 25. Here's Sosa. He's popped out, walked, and scored tonight. That one driven out of play. I want to correct some information inadvertently given us by Stats Inc. tonight. Matt Clement is going for a 4-game win streak. He's done that before. His longest was 8 straight wins from September of 1999 to May 2000. So I don't want to shortchange Matt. He's pitching well tonight. 3 hits allowed to the Cardinals, only 1 run. A 1-1 pitch. Up and in to Sosa. 2 balls and a strike.
It was Sammy who got it started last inning when he drew the base on balls on a real close pitch, and the base hit and the home run followed.
And he is right on some of these pitches from Suppan, but hasn't been able to dial in the sweet spot yet. 2-2 pitch. It's full now, 3-2. Cubs gained a whole lot of confidence against these Cardinals with that 4 out of 5 series victory last September in Chicago. The 3-2 popped him up. Again, Pujols. And it's 3 up, 3 down for the Cubs in the top of the 5th. Bottom half rolls around. Matt Clement will face the lower third of the Cardinal order with a 3-1 lead. Comes Monday afternoon. The Cubs and Cardinals wrap up their first 4-game series of the young campaign. The only place to see the greatest rivalry in baseball is here on Fox Sports Net beginning 11:30 Central Time.
To pass along best wishes to Judge Alan Freeman, a lifelong Cub fan who's looking on tonight. His daughter came down, like so many of these Cub fans, to watch the renewal of this ancient rivalry. It's an inning that you would like to see the Cubs get through without any histrionics, because then it would be an official game. The Cubs lead by 2, and it's the lower part of the order.
Sanders, McKay, and Sapon are coming up for the Cardinals. And a Ramos Ramirez 3-run bomb into the Cub bullpen turns the game around. Sanders pushes a bunt toward first, bunt foul.
Looks like he was bunting for a double.
Well, he is very strong, as you know.
Well, he bunted that ball without a great deal of finesse, trying to get it between Derek Lee and the bag. And off the wet turf, that would have been a good trick. You're going to push that ball to the right side. If you're looking at execution for your young players, you want to push it right at the second baseman. Bunt it hard enough to get it by the pitcher, and then try to beat the pitcher to first base, because you'll also draw the first baseman over to try to make the play.
That's exactly what happened in the first inning. That's how Womack got on, and that led directly to the lone St. Louis tally of the night. 1 strike to Sanders. A terrific find for the Cardinals. 8 home runs for him, including 1 last night. He's knocked in 22 for them. He replaces J.D. Drew, the oft-injured J.D. Drew, in the Cardinal outfield.
Well, you saw Matt shaking his head because he got away with a slider that didn't break particularly well, and I'm not sure that the footing is 100%, but I know the grip might be suffering somewhat.
2-strike pitch. 1 and 2.
Yeah, the one thing you don't want to do to Sanders is hang a slider, because he's always had what's known as a slider speed bat. He doesn't hit the real good fastball if it's up and on the inner portion of the plate. You can throw that by him. But if you get it out away from him, especially the hanging slider, because that's about 83, 82 miles an hour, where the fastball from Clement is 92. And there's a hanger that he roped down the line, but foul.
And the ball dude takes a tumble.
Yes, but the ball didn't get by him, and that's the key ingredient there. See, he makes a fine effort.
He's got the wrong spikes on, man.
He's got to go change. He absolutely has to get some cleats.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Yeah, he went. Sanders is down.
Well, he doesn't know he's out yet, but he will in a minute.
Reggie, in this game in the major leagues, 3 strikes, you're out.
He thought if he turned his back long enough to Angel Hernandez, he wouldn't call him out. This is good. Now, he does go around, but he figures, look, I won't look at him. He won't notice me, and I'll get another swing. But Angel says, take a seat. It's raining. 2 outs to go.
Here's McKay. He rolled out to first. Derek Lee took care of the speed-burning Cardinal catcher, who's 2 for 18 this season. Big swing and a miss. 0-1 your count.
Well, they have what most teams would like to have, especially if McKay can turn it on somewhat, and that's a catching platoon system where Matheny will play most of the time, but you have one right-hander and one left-hand hitting catcher, and the Cubs have the same thing in Barrett and Baco.
That's tapped to the mound. Matt has another easy play. 2 outs for Suppan. We're 1 out away from it being official, and then Mother Nature can do whatever she desires.
Or can just keep it like this and we can get this thing in.
Suppan rolled out to short his first and only time up.
Don't forget it's a quick turnaround with the day game tomorrow, and then in the wraparound series we also have a day game on Monday.
Right through there for a called strike.
The Cubs in desperate need of a win in this park. Last 31 games dating back to the year 2000. They've lost 26 of them here in St. Louis.
That a little too high. 1-1. With that in mind, the Cubs would be more than happy to push the plunger when they decide to knock this place down. Cardinals are in the process of building a brand new ballpark just beyond where the right field scoreboard is here. South parking lot of Busch Stadium. It's going to take them a couple of years to build that.
Well, the Cubs have already shown that when they take some old parks out of cities, they play much better. The Astrodome, for one, was a nightmare for the Cubs. Three Rivers Stadium was no better. The Cubs averaged a win just a third of the time in the history of that ballpark.
And this year we have to go back to Montreal. Down goes Suppan. It's an official game, and Clement officially throwing a masterpiece through 5. 3-1. Cubs lead it.
Tired of endless searches for low fares? Introducing the Southwest Shortcut. Shows you exactly which days our lowest online fares are available. Only at southwest.com.
You are now free to move about the country.
Tired of dial-up? Just sitting here waiting for the internet to load? I couldn't stand it anymore, so I went online and signed up for SBC Yahoo DSL. It's super fast, and it's only $26.95 a month. Plus, I also got SBC Home Networking for a one-time fee of just $50. Now I've connected our PCs wirelessly, and we can all be on the internet at the same time. This deal won't be around for long, so get on it.
Get SBC Yahoo DSL for just $26.95 a month when you sign up online and connect 2 or more computers for just $50.
Reversing the flow of the Chicago River is an engineering wonder. Just like the V8 Power Suburban in Tahoe.
He said his lines. We should give him his lunch back then.
It's Truck Fest. On a 2004 Suburban in Tahoe, use bonus cash for $4,000 total cash back, or choose 0% APR for 60 months for qualified buyers.
Where's my fruit snacks? Hey, come back here.
Took my Heineken.
Friday, May 7th, the first 20,000 fans get a scratch and win card. 100 random winners get a Mitchell & Ness Cooperstown Authentic Collection 1969 Ron Santo Road jersey, compliments of Chevrolet. Fans are encouraged to hold on to their cards for second chance drawings throughout the game. There's no purchase necessary. For complete rules, visit Cubs.com. Rain continues to pelt the fans at Busch Stadium. And the Cub fans serenade Moises Alou as he comes up in the 6th inning. Alou, Ramirez, and Derek Lee, a group that got things going offensively in the 4th inning, are coming up again.
And the umbrellas are starting to appear, so you know that it's starting to rain pretty hard here. Now that the Cubs are ahead by 2, you just as soon let them rain it out. Don't give this Potent fans a chance to come back.
Was this a big swing and a miss? Nice day today for Matt Clement. And another man with a devastating slider also had a good day today. Former Cub John Lieber pitched for the Yankees today and was a winner again. John went 7 innings for New York. They blasted the Royals 12-4 did New York today. Ruben Sierra with 7 RBIs, including a grand slam. This is retired here in our 6th inning.
Well, we wish him well. It's a long time between wins for John Lieber, who came back from surgery. It took him a while, as it does for most guys, but with the surgical techniques, if you stay with it, you'll come back as strong or stronger than before you left. It was Tommy John surgery, and he seems to be all the way back, and it certainly helps to get 12 runs from your teammates. I think everything is just fine these days in the Bronx with that offense.
Here's Aramis, his 3-run homer. The difference in the game tonight for the Cubs. And Sapon misses with the ball low. 1 ball, no strikes.
I'd like to see the Cubs score this inning because the Cardinals head back to the top of the order with Womack and Langford, a couple of guys that have been on base 3 or 4 times against Clement.
Pulled toward third. Roland, backhand stab, and a laser for an arm. 2 quick outs here in the Cubs' 6th for Derek Lee now.
Roland's arm reminds me of the way Vinny Castilla used to play when he was a youngster at 30. He had a great arm and always threw the ball right in the middle of the first baseman's chest. Doesn't matter what position he caught it, but he righted himself. The arm was very strong, and the throws were just like that. You catch it chest high. And Roland won a Gold Glove because of his combination of first step quickness and great arm.
1 ball, no strikes to Derek Lee. He's walked and has popped out tonight. This game a hard sellout in St. Louis. It'll be the same tomorrow. A businessman special on Monday afternoon. Before we head back home to beautiful Wrigley Field in Chicago, and another look at the Diamondbacks, and our first look at Colorado. Arizona, not surprisingly, without Richie Sexson, having trouble scoring runs again. They were beaten 4-0 yesterday. They're losing 3-0 tonight.
Well, if he's lost, and I know he's on the disabled list, so he's going to be lost for at least a couple of weeks. If he's lost for much longer than that, it's going to be real tough for the Diamondbacks. There's the Chicagoland Speedway upcoming schedule.
2 balls and a strike. I guess we should say then we should encourage our fans to make Wrigley Field their pit stop sometime next week.
You can do that, certainly. As part of the continuity between marketing and the broadcast promotional aspect of it.
3-1 count. Fouled off Derek's foot. Full count now at 3 balls, 2 strikes. Cincinnati and Houston, good game. Aaron Harang for the Reds, Wade Miller for Houston. It's 4-3 Astros, bottom of the 6th inning at Minute Maid Park.
Personally, although Cincinnati's off to a good start, you kind of root for Houston to lose as many games as possible, because over the long run they're going to be a much tougher team.
Scalded past Roland, and it takes the wicket hop off the signage, and Derek has to hesitate, and that might cost him. Derek Lee couldn't make up his mind. He had a single for sure. Stopped in the middle of the first and second base bags. The Cardinals throw a laser and retire him at second base. 7-4 the putout, and that retires the side. Cubs 3, Cardinals 1. Top of the Redbird order coming up.
Words to describe the big Tundra double cab.
Epic. Invincible. Enigmatic.
Big words are needed for the biggest truck Toyota's ever built, with 4 full-size doors and V8 power.
Excellent.
Tundra's big on value, too. That's why it was named the year's best overall value. So, how would you describe it?
Ethereal. Impregnable. Look that one up.
Get zero financing for 36 months or 1,000 customer cash on select 04 Tundras. See your Toyota dealer.
Introducing Arby's new Market Fresh Low Carbies Wraps. Try the Market Fresh Turkey Ranch and Bacon with fresh sliced turkey and the Market Fresh Ultimate BLT with pepper bacon. They're loaded with flavor, not carbs. Try Low Carbies at Arby's.
Time to get up and make a trip to Military and Police Supply, where you'll find camouflage clothing of all kinds, complete outfits for the big and small. Camouflage clothing can make you invisible. Watch this.
Can you see me now? Can you see me now?
Located at 7351 West Madison and Forest Park, minutes from the Eisenhower, from the city or suburbs, dial 312 surplus for weekly specials and closeout, serving you since 1977. Military and Police Supply. Now a few words from the drill instructor.
$49 down delivered. Rizza Chevy is your home of $49 down. $49 down on over 400 pre-driven vehicles. That's right. $49 down and drive home today. $49 down on pre-driven Nissan, Pontiacs, Dodge, Busch, Chevy. $49 down delivers pre-driven sports cars, family cars, luxury cars, pickup trucks, minivans, conversion vans, sport utility. Rizza Chevy is your home of $49 down. $49 down delivered at Rizza Chevy in Bridgeview.
Tomorrow at 1:30 on Fox Sports Net.
Good news for Derek Lee. Had a solid base hit to left. Bad news is he couldn't decide if it was one base or two.
Well, the he who hesitates is lost philosophy comes in handy on the bases. If you stop, then don't start up again, because odds are you're not going to beat the play. And I know Derek has pretty good speed, but the footing is very heavy, so he gets thrown out and taken out of the inning, and now it's the top of the order.
Which means this might be the biggest inning of the ball game. Cubs are up 3-1. It's Womack, Langford, and Pujols in the Cardinals' sixth.
And the rain is ever present and coming down harder, so this becomes a huge inning for Matt Clement.
A couple more of those, and that'll slow down the Womack running game. That really caught him flush on the ankle.
With the rain coming down, take as much time as you want, Tony. And it did catch him on.
It was the leg, actually,
inside part of the right foot. Now Barry Weinberg, longtime trainer of both the Oakland team and, along with Tony La Russa, this St. Louis team comes out. Growing up, Barry was Sandy Crum's hero.
No balls, 2 strikes. Womack stays alive. This game did start with a very, very gentle misting kind of rain. Most of the time, they don't start games unless it's completely dry at first pitch. But the weather forecast tomorrow and Monday, quite frankly, is not all that good.
It's not gentle and misting right now.
Yeah, they don't want to back up games. So, frankly, we feel pretty fortunate to have gotten through 5 in St. Louis tonight.
What you do, Chippy asked what you do if you can't get a real good grip on the ball. You just ask for another one. Keep it in your glove as long as possible. Take the rosin bag, which by this time is so soaked that it does you absolutely no good. And then hope for Tony to beat it into the ground.
No balls, 2 strikes from Clement. And that one all the way to the backstop. The Tigers won today. They beat Seattle, a real mystery team out west. Mariners lose for the 8th time in 10 games. Jeremy Bonderman, who lost 19 last year, got the win today for Detroit. He's now 3-1. And Oogie Urbina, his 2nd save for the Tigers. They're much improved. And Womack has a seat. Big, big sequence for Clement. He got the speedy leadoff man here in the 6th inning.
Well, he put it under his hands, which is a real good spot to Tony Womack. As Matt searches for a grip, finds the one he likes. and throws it in a perfect spot.
Here's Langford. He has the only St. Louis run batted in tonight. He's knocked in 6 this season.
We'll now get Langford before you get Pujols, and you might see a stoppage of play here. They certainly want to get this half inning in. Crew chief is Larry Young, the man behind the plate, I believe.
He'll give the Cardinals the bottom of the 6th for sure. He'll give them a shot against Clement. After that, we'll see. 1 ball, no strikes. Ball too low.
That's why it's so important to get Langford so that Pujols and possibly Edmonds don't represent the tying runs.
Out again is Barrett to talk it over with Matt. Pirates lead Milwaukee 7-1. That game in the bottom of the 5th inning at Miller Park. Houston's just scored 2 more. They're over Cincinnati now 6-3. Colorado's taken a 3-2 lead over Atlanta in game 2 of their twin bill. Rockies won game 1 by that identical score. Arizona's come back, Steve, with a 4 spot in the 6th inning in Philadelphia. They now lead the Phillies 4-3.
Pretty heavy footing, just like at the Kentucky Derby.
Smarty Jones the winner.
And a great story for horse and 39-year-old jockey winning the Kentucky Derby in his first Derby effort. There's the results if you have a trifecta. And it's the results if you don't have a trifecta.
Smarty Jones, by the way, 7 for 7, undefeated, a $5 million bonus. That horse is going to have a great time.
Oats for a long
That's
time.
Exactly right. Pretty muddy track in St. Louis as well tonight. And Matt,
not exactly rushing into this at bat.
He understands the importance of getting Langford, but the longer he dawdles here, the more likely it is we're going to have a stoppage. Smoke left center field. That's trouble. That's going to go to the wall. 1-hop rocket off the bat of Ray Langford. Now you have to face Pujols in a deluge, and he represents the tying run.
Well, you not only have to face Pujols, but that double ensures that you're going to have to face Edmonds, a man who's crushed the ball twice against Clement. So Barrett goes out to give him a new set of signs, and you know that Larry Young and his umpiring mates are thinking about banging this one, but you also want to make sure you have a good grip on the baseball. This is a very tough lineup for the Cardinals.
Pujols is 0 for 2. He has a 6-game hitting streak entering play tonight. Tough man to strike out. He's only done that 5 times in 109 plate appearances for the Cardinals. That one off the end of the bat. He's thinking home run right now, folks. Nothing in 1-year count.
Well, he pulled out and that ball hung and he hit it off the end of the bat. He was just a little too anxious on this one. And you can see him pretty much flying open. Clement doesn't roll another one up there.
Langford leads at second. The 0-1 pitch. Cubs by 2 in the 6th. Popped him up. Ramirez battling the raindrops. Puts the 2-handed squeeze on, and Pujols is the big second out.
Well, now this is a man you worry about because he's the guy that has hit the ball the hardest for these Cardinals, and also a strong left-hand hitter.
Edmonds is hit into a double play, and he has doubled. And again, Clement wants a new baseball.
Pujols pulls out, and when he's not hitting well, that's what he does. He's anxious. He tries to get out there a little too quickly, pulls off the ball, and he popped it straight up. So a big second out here in the 6th. Langford's trying to get all the mud he can off his cleats, but as deep as the outfield is, on a base hit, you can pretty much walk around.
Roland waits on deck. Let's worry about him in the 7th if we get that far. Cubs lead in a deluge. Sixth inning, 3-1 your score. And that's ricocheted off Barrett and Young behind the plate. 0-1 your count. And again Barrett out. Might have been crossed up. This is costing valuable time, and you can see Larry Young behind the plate growing impatient by the moment. Matt, no balls and a strike.
Well, it's not going to stop raining. Maybe he's hoping to go into the sleeper and get this one stopped before Edmonds hits.
There's that upper strike zone pitch.
It's the one place consistently you can get out Edmonds. Take a look at the location. Up and away. The uppercut swing, and he'll swing through that all night.
Hitters need windshield wipers off that flap to see the baseball. Clement 1 strike away from escaping the 6th. Cub fans really hollering now. 3-1 score and an 0-2 pitch coming. And Edmonds gets the time call just as Clement makes his move to the plate. Pitchers hate that, don't they?
Well, first of all, Matt is taking an inordinate amount of time looking at second base. Langford's not going to steal.
You got to give Young and his crew kudos for incredible patience here. You can understand the deliberateness with which Matt is working here, as he has just a 2-run lead. 0-2 counts. Little squibber. Matt's got it. He'll flip to Lee, and the 6th inning's in the books. Cubs lead the Cardinals 3-1. Now it's a decision for Larry Young and his umpiring crew.
Focus and a Dell, a Focus and a Dell. Get the car and you'll go far with a Focus and a Dell. The Dell PC is free. The Dell PC is free. The printer's fat. The monitor's flat. The Dell PC is free.
Get into any 2004 Ford Focus with 0% financing or $2,000 cash back, and get a Dell computer with a flat panel monitor and printer, all free.
A Focus and a Dell.
8664.
Feldco. Call 8664-FEL. DCO.
Buy more, save more. Replace your old windows and watch your savings grow.
Call 866-4FELDCO.
The more quality Feldco replacement windows you buy, the more you save. $160, $300, $600 and more.
Here's the winning number. Call now. Call 866-4FELDCO.
Welcome back. I'm here in this 19th century Victorian with new owners Mike and Shannon Boyd. Hi, Ted.
We just fell in love with its charm.
Yeah, it's charming. Unfortunately, the roof leaks, the foundation is crumbling, and there's significant termite damage. But I do have good news. I just saved a bunch of money on my car insurance by switching to Geico. Hey, we need to talk about your electrical. Whoa. Yeah, we're going to want to fix that.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Cubs fans, come early and save big with the Cubs Early Bird Discount. During the first hour, the gates are open. Enjoy 25% off all food and non-alcoholic beverages. For hot dogs, pizza, Pepsi, and more, catch the Cubs Early Bird Discount.
What our game summary offensively tonight, Steve? Pretty simple. One swing of the bat turned the game around.
After a walk and a base hit by Lou Ramirez. That's the second Cub hit of the night, but good enough to put him on top. And then Matt Clement doing as he's done all year, just pitching great baseball.
I'm really shocked that we're still playing. I mean, look at that picture you're seeing from our center field camera. It's really coming down here. And no diamond dry applied to the infield in between innings.
Well, they dragged it, and it's still a close game. You want to get it in if you at all possibly can. It becomes much more difficult for the pitcher because of the footing and the grip on the baseball. So it's to the hitter's advantage, although you'd never know it tonight. Hits tied at 4 as we head into the 7th.
Fly ball to right. Reggie Sanders will splash around. One man down. Still a shot of rain tomorrow, especially in the afternoon to evening hours here in St. Louis. Monday, the forecast looks
nice day.
real
Beautiful
good.
day Monday.
Beautiful, sunny, and 64 degrees.
Then the traveling caravan heads home, and the Cubs entertain the Diamondbacks, the Sexton-less Diamondbacks, as Richie is on the disabled list.
Michael Barrett thinks about a bunt. That's out of play for a strike.
Good idea, because he saw Rolen well back at third. If you can put it in play with the wet baseball and the element of surprise, it most likely would have been a base hit.
No balls and a strike to the Cubs' 8th place hitter, Michael Barrett. So far, no signs of any difficulty footing-wise for either pitcher. That, I would imagine, will be the big indicator for Larry Young. Base hit through the whole left side. Michael Barrett has his 4th base hit of the series. And he's on in front of pitcher Matt Clement.
If Michael Barrett can put together one healthy season, something he has had a hard time doing, he's going to put up some real impressive numbers. He came in hitting a lofty .356. He's 1 for 2. And I guess the only question now, if he keeps on swinging the bat like he is, how do you continue to put him in the 8th spot? He's already driven in 13 runs from well down in the lineup all year long.
Well, that's
tremendous production.
That's amazing. I mean, in our league, the number 8 hitter usually gets 13 RBIs in 2 months.
And he also has to be tremendously patient, because it's real easy to pitch around him to get to the pitcher.
Well, let's see if Matt can lay out a bunt down here. He sacrificed twice on the season. Rolen thinks he will. Matt squares, and it's ricocheted off McKay behind the plate. That doesn't feel good. Strike 1 to Clement.
Catchers, on the many things that catchers truly hate, one of the things is a pitcher who can't bunt, because when he fouls it off, it's going to hit you right on the foot. I mean, that's just like death and taxes.
And you not paying for dinner.
Yes. Now that goes without saying. But if he fouls it off, you're going to get hit. So you encourage the guys to be good bunters.
Clement bunts it, and Pujols lets it go foul. 0-2.
There's a lot of folks around this Cardinal organization that think that Albert Pujols will one day win a Gold Glove at first base. They finally settled on a position for him after moving him around in his early years, and I guess it's a testament to the type of hitter he has been, the fact that he really hasn't had one position. Played third, and he's played left, and he's played first, and you keep moving a guy around, and all he's ever done is just swing the bat and hit the ball awfully hard.
Right, he'll have to wait a while for the Gold Gloves, but he's got plenty of silver bats. Batting champion in the National League last year. Clement with 2 strikes gets the bunt down. Sapon takes the sure out at first base. He took a look at second, but again, with a wet baseball, if he throws that in center field, he's got real big problems. Clement the sacrifice. Barrett to second. 2 outs for Todd Walker, the Cub leadoff man.
Well, he did have an inkling and might have been able to make the throw, but who knows what kind of grip he has at that point. So instead of opening the door for a big inning, he flips it to the toe-tapping Tony Womack, who took a couple of shots and finally got to the bag.
Well, Fred Astaire's always been Tony's favorite performer on stage and screen, and he showed it there. Here's Todd. Time for him to pick up a big hit. And the Cubs this year have bbeen very productive with 2 outs. 43 runs scored with 2 men out so far this year. This could be a backbreaker if the Cubs can cash it in. Out of play to the left side. Strike 1 to Todd Walker.
I think it's astonishing for Womack to have had Tommy John surgery in October and be playing in April. We talked to him yesterday. He's got that nasty scar that so many major league players have, mostly pitchers. But Womack had to go through it, and the fact that he's not a pitcher allowed him to come back that much more quickly, and he also worked real hard to do it.
Strike 1 to Walker. 0-2 is your count. Looking ahead to the St. Louis 7th. Rowland, Renteria, and Sanders are due up. Another excellently pitched game by both teams. Clement, though, a little bit better than Sapon tonight.
And a big run to pick up. The outfield is very shallow, especially Langford in left.
And now Walker steps out. Big Cub fan Brian Utter watching us on MLB.com tonight from Buenos Aires, Argentina.
How's the beef?
That's off the plate, and Barrett slipped and fell down, and he's going to be thrown out. Barrett breaking toward third with the pitch, slipped and fell, and McKay throws him out. The Cubs blunder on the base paths in the 7th inning and take a 3-1 lead to the bottom half here in St. Louis.
When it starts showing up in video games, don't let the needle-pushing T5 Turbo Performance mess with your mind. It's still built like a Volvo. Introducing the all-new Volvo S40.
Will my car be ready this afternoon like you promised?
Yes.
Will you use a bunch of lingo I won't understand?
No.
Will you try to sell me something I really don't need?
No.
Do you like Broadway show tunes?
No.
Just wanted to see if this thing really works.
For mechanics known for their work and their word,
trust the Midas touch.
See Wrigley Field like you've never seen it before. Take an official Wrigley Field tour. Visit the Cubs clubhouse, the dugout, the playing field, and more. It's a Cubs fan's dream come true. Call 773-404-CUBS today for ticket information and tour dates.
Well, friends, watch the Cubs take on the Rockies on Mother's Day Sunday. That's May 9th at 1:20 p.m. Make sure you arrive early. The first 10,000 ladies 14 and older get a Precious Moments Mother's Day figurine by Enesco. That great giveaway is compliments of our friends at Pepsi.
The footing a little treacherous here in the infield in St. Louis, and Michael Barrett got a little adventuresome on the base paths, and when he went to put on the brakes, he skidded. Actually, he just kind of fell over. It looked like Artie Johnson in those old laugh-in clips. Took like a half step and fell over, and then they tagged him out there too.
I was going to say, like you and I, Michael, not a mutter as we approach Mother's Day.
Oh, his father was a mutter. Well, we can't get into Seinfeld.
That's right. So here we go, bottom of the 7th inning. Scott Rowland to work first. He's struck out, and a pitch plunked him last time up. Game 3 of the series tomorrow. Zambrano and Morris That'll be a WGN telecast at 1 o'clock Central Time.
There's only been 2 balls, as far as outs are concerned, out of the infield. That's very much like Brandon Webb of the Diamondbacks. So Clement's had a real good sinker tonight, and he's held down a real good offensive team. 1 run, 4 hits, and we're in the 7th.
Fly ball hammered center field. Corey drifting back any other night, and that one's out of the park. Patterson makes the play. Rollins retired without number 1.
Now, I don't know if Renteria is bunting these days, but I know he's very capable of doing it. And because they've got to get 1 base runner before they think about tying it up, and with Reggie Sanders having a good year, I would watch the bunt from him.
He's hit the ball twice to the shortstop and has made 3 outs.
Especially with his luck against Clement.
He is 1 for 20 lifetime. No sign of a bunt, and he takes a strike. Toward third, right to Ramirez. Make sure he has a good grip. 2 outs.
Clement continues to sail right along. And he's picked up tonight where he left off. He's had 1 bad ball game. This his 5th start. And in the other 4, he's been just short of brilliant in most of them, especially last time out against the Mets.
He took a no-hitter, you'll recall, late into that game before Kareem Garcia spoiled it with a solo home run to straightaway center. Here tonight, a 1st inning run. He was down a run after 2 Cardinal hitters, but he has settled in beautifully. Has allowed just 2 hits since. Sanders has hit in 11 of his last 12 games, but Clement has overmatched him tonight.
Yes, he did.
Remember last time up, Sanders was called out on strikes and didn't even know it. Angel Hernandez rung him up at first on a swing very similar to the one you just saw.
Well, he's not picking up the slider at all, so it would be a good time to throw the ball in the same spot.
Bases empty, 2 outs in soggy St. Louis. The Cubs trying to even up this series. That one well out of play. Final in the American League. Texas beat Boston 4-3 tonight. How about the Rangers without A-Rod? They're 14-9 atop the American League West.
Buck Showalter, John Hart, the GM, gotten a little pitching this year to go with what's been a good hitting team for a few years. I like the young boys, Teixeira and Blaylock.
1-2. How about Soriano and Young? Those 2 guys up the middle are hitting everything in sight too.
Nice crowd tonight, although most of them now are not here. Biggest crowd of the season, a sellout at 49,505.
2-2 pitch to Sanders is coming. And Matt's run it full.
Well, here's an example of knowing that if you can throw 1 more slider over the plate at 0-2, you're going to strike him out. He's thrown 3 straight well out of the zone. He just wanted to get him close enough to be tantalizing. And now you look at Barrett, who's looking over into the dugout to see what they might want, and it's a slider again. If he gets it close, he'll strike him out.
Matt didn't notice Sanders had stepped out.
Well, Michael Barrett has taped his fingers, but he hasn't taped Reggie Sanders, so he didn't pick him up right away.
Did he tape Larry Sanders, though?
That was a good show. There's the split screen again. Let's see what you got, Michael. We got the taped fingers. There's the slider.
And there goes Reggie Sanders. Maybe off to watch the Larry Sanders show. He's 0 for 3 tonight. And on to the 8th we go. Clement dominant tonight. 3-1 Cubs lead it.
Cubs baseball is brought to you in part by Comcast, proud to be Chicagoland's cable company. Robert Morris College, where dreams find direction. And Nissan, who invite you to shift the way you move through the world.
Take me fishing, because our boat's cooler than any video game.
Take me fishing and make me feel 16 again.
Take me fishing because I miss my boy.
To learn more about boating and fishing, visit waterworkswonders.org.
Americans are hardworking people, but they also treasure their free time. That's why most people have outdoor power equipment with high-performance Briggs & Stratton engines inside. They start easily and have the power to get the job done quickly. In fact, they've been helping Americans make the most of their free time for nearly a century. So be sure there's a powerful Briggs & Stratton engine inside. Briggs & Stratton, the power that works for you.
Happy Mother's Day.
Oh, honey, it's a camera phone. It's 2 camera phones.
Oh, it's a Mother's Day miracle. Oh, hey, I'll take this one.
This year, Mother's Day isn't just for moms. Buy Mom one cool CDM 8900 camera phone from Verizon Wireless and get yourself a second phone free. Send pictures back and forth on 2 great phones with 1 great deal. Plus, join in and call each other or any Verizon Wireless customer anytime without using any plan minutes.
I sent you a picture of the syrup.
Verizon Wireless. We never stop working for you.
The secret to Jack Daniels is our unique charcoal mellowing process. Maybe everything should be charcoal mellowed.
Well, here we go now to the top half of the 8th inning. Cubs look to add to their 3-1 lead, and they'll have their first, second, and third hitters due up.
Oh, that's a good night for shirts off and face painting. It was 49 degrees at game time, and it's made up for being very wet today by being exceptionally chilly.
But at least they get a free shower. It looked like they probably needed it. Top of the 8th, Todd Walker to work first. He's 0 for 3 tonight, 0 for 7 so far in the 4-game series.
Well, as long as you're gone this far in the rain, you might as well keep it going.
And Todd hasn't had the best of times so far here in St. Louis. He's out number 1.
That was a good changeup by Supan. It was really thrown very well. He just had some problems in the 4th with a no-hitter going. He walked Sammy with an out. A base hit by Alou and a 3-run homer. And that's been it. And the first 2 hitters produced the only Cardinal run. And now Josh Pierce, recently recalled, throwing in the bullpen.
Corey Patterson tonight is 0 for 3. And as Steve mentioned, dipping, dropping, and looping to left has been a somewhat frequent occurrence for him at the plate of late. One ball, 1 strike. Corey, too, we got the information from Stats Inc. coming into play tonight, 84 plate appearances. Corey swung at the first pitch 33 times.
There's some hitting instructors that will tell you that that's a good thing. Others will tell you, and if you listen to a dissertation by pitching coach Dave Duncan, he will tell you that that's one of the worst pitches to hit because you can never work a pitcher. You never get into the hitter's counts at 2-0, 3-1.
Yeah, you'll run into a fastball and hit it out occasionally.
Corey finds himself in a 1-2 hole.
And typically speaking, the role of that number 2 hitter is a guy who, if you have a leadoff man on, take pitches, work the count, get deep into the count to allow him either a chance to run and then.
Well, if he is a runner, and Walker is not that much of a runner.
You pick your pitch. But Patterson's down on strikes and is 0 for 4 today. And it gives Sosa another chance to bat on this rainy night. Sammy is 0 for 2 with a walk, and he scored ahead of the Ramirez bomb in the 4th inning. That strikeout, by the way, numero uno for Sapon. Down the right field line and out of play. Don't forget, after our game, Steve and I will join Gail Fisher, Dave Otto. We'll recap Game 2 of the series with our Cubs post-game show.
And don't forget digging in with Dusty.
There's a rope hit by Sosa. And Sammy has his first base hit of the night. That'll bring up Alou, who swung the bat very well tonight. Those aren't boos, those are Alous. The Cub fans braving out the terrible weather conditions while the Cardinals fans have flown the coop.
Cowering under the overhang. Or over the underhang. They've got them both here. This is actually a pretty good looking older park. They've done a nice job of keeping this ballpark current. They're going to move out of here to a new ballpark. They say is going to be ready in 2006. That might be a little optimistic.
If it never stops raining, it's going to be tough to pour the footings across the street. Back in the 70s, early 80s, this was a great place to come as a ball player and lose weight. Sauna, steam bath, artificial turf in the middle of the summer. Casey Stengel managing the first All-Star game in this ballpark. When he walked onto the field and was asked his impressions of it, he said, well, it sure holds the heat well.
It really did that.
1 ball, no strikes to Alou. Sammy a very short lead at first with the sloppy footing. And there's a rocket down the left field line, but that's going to be pulled foul. Cubs can't dial in that corner, confound it. Back to first, Sosa.
Knowing that the Cubs are better pull hitters than St. Louis, I'm pretty sure that they narrowed the foul lines for this series.
No question.
Because that's the 5th time we've seen the Cubs just miss, with the Cardinals using the majority of the field. And now Langford wants a timeout because someone has thrown something on the track in left field.
I think it's a Cub cap. Beautiful weather if you're a Duck.
Boyce is trying to keep his hand dry.
Whatever works on a night like this. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's Cable. 3-1 is your score. Cubs have out-hit the Cardinals for the 2nd straight game. Last night we out-hit them 10-5. Tonight it's 6-4 in favor of Dusty Baker's bunch. Pulled toward the hole and through. So 2 straight 2-out hits and a chance for Aramis Ramirez to make some more magic. Dave Duncan will pop out of the Cardinal dugout. They've had Pierce up and throwing for quite some time now.
Now, unlike most teams, Duncan will actually make some of the pitching changes. Usually when the pitching coach goes out, you know that it's just a chat. Right at the 98 pitch mark, Duncan is speaking like a man who's going to leave him in the game. However,
we didn't get a chance to talk to Tony La Russa before the game tonight. Remember, he came out last night to argue he might have pulled a hamstring. He might not be able to go out and make the pitching changes for the Cardinals tonight.
He's probably saying, what are you doing out here? Let's go.
Now, Dave Duncan's not asking Larry Young like Tommy Lasorda did in the playoffs of the World Series. Should I keep him in or should I pull him? What do you think I should do? Tell you what, though, Larry Young's called a great game behind the plate tonight. It's not easy conditions for the players. How about the guy that's trying to gauge whether a pitch that's a quarter of an inch off the black is a ball or a strike or not? He's had a good game tonight. There's been no barking at all from anybody. Big sequence. Chance for more two-out thunder here. Ramirez jumps on the first pitch, pops it to shallow right. Out goes Womack, stumbles a bit, but hangs on to retire the side. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Cubs protecting a 2-run lead late.
Hi, I'd like to order a deep dish.
How about the new Chevy Malibu instead?
Oh, what's on that?
A tilt telescoping steering wheel, flat-fold front seats, CD player.
What?
The word is out. Get 0% APR financing for qualified buyers or $1,000 cash back on Chevy Malibu.
Is my order ready?
Oh, yeah, it's right out front.
I ordered a pizza.
You'll like this much better.
We ate your pizza.
Oh, want to play in Wisconsin this summer. Please say that you will. Oh, won't you play in Wisconsin this summer?
Call 1-800-432-TRIP or visit travelwisconsin.com.
Imagine a Civic for $159 a month. And IntelliChoice's best overall value for 2004. Oh yeah, did I mention it's a Honda? Good things do come in threes, don't they? Now you can lease a Civic Value Package for $159 a month for 36 months.
Dan Sports Show, period, will return.
Time for an in-game update. I'm Gail Fisher inside the Fox Sports Net newsroom. There is still time to log on to fsnchicago.com and give us your opinion on today's Buick poll question. Which rivalry is your favorite? The Cubs and Cardinals, the Cubs and Astros, the Cubs and White Sox, or the Cubs and Brewers? Log on, give us your opinion, and we'll have the results in the post-game show. For now, though, let's send it back to Chip and Steve in St. Louis.
All right, Gail, thank you very much. Here we go to the St. Louis half of the 8th. Matt Clement has pitched brilliantly. He goes through Colin Porter, then Marlon Anderson apparently, who will hit for Suppan, and then Womack. So Tony La Russa starting to bring out the left-handed bats as the game enters the final inning and a half.
I don't know how much Matt has left, but you've got the bullpen up and going, and it's Kent Merker, I believe. And so they're certainly going to wait until Marlon Anderson is named. That's when Dusty might come out to make a change. You would hate to see Matt let this one get away late, and he'll have to face, if he stays in, 4 left-handers in a row.
Outside corner, first pitch strike to Colin Porter.
Matt's been in control all the way. Porter 1 for 4 as a pinch hitter this year. Their best has been Marlon Anderson, 5 for 8 as a pinch hitter, and he's on deck.
Porter, formerly of the Astros organization, did everything he could at AAA last year. Hit .320 for New Orleans in 102 games, drove in 50 men and hit 11 home runs. Got 32 at bats in the big leagues, no homers or RBIs, and that one yanked a mile foul. Will it reach the upper deck? It will not. Get to the club level and then ricochet down. Porter, a product of the University of Arizona.
Another bastion of academic excellence. Not quite the equal of ASU, however. But their basketball has been somewhat better the last few years.
I would say so. A ball and 2 strikes to Porter, who made his debut in the big leagues against the Cubs while with Houston. Got his first big league hit and has a pinch hit here in the 8th.
I honestly don't think that I would leave Clement in too long against a bevy of left-handers that he's going to have to face. It's been a great outing for him. We'll see what Dusty has in mind. That's only the 5th hit given up by Matt Clement. That looked like a slider that stayed away. That part of it was good, but it didn't have that sharp break.
Well, here's the dilemma that Dusty has as a manager. Now, we don't delve into a whole lot of statistical stuff. The decision for Dusty is, does he leave Matt Clement in, pitching as well as he is tonight, or does he go with the left-hander against the left-handed bat of Anderson? The problem is, so far this year, lefties have hit .385 against Merker. That's driven to right pretty deep, but playable for Sosa shy of the track. Anderson flies out, and Matt might be wearying just a bit here.
Heavy
There's
air.
one bullet dodge.
The heavy air kept that one in the park because that ball was hit real hard, but it is a huge out.
So Anderson flies out in the 8th inning. Porter at first with 1 man down. Interesting, too, that he's got Merker and LaTroy Hawkins up in the bullpen. That's out of the old if you fall off your horse theory. Get him right back up. Both Merker and Hawkins issued critical bases on balls in last night's 9th inning. And to his credit, LaTroy Hawkins, a stand-up guy after the game, he said, I had a bad night.
Well, he said, I can take if a guy beats me, but it's particularly galling to take walking the winning run in. If you do that job and you come in at the end, that's going to happen to you. It's just the way it is.
I asked Joe Borowski last year, what's the best part, what's the toughest part about doing your job? That is closing games out. And he said it's really the same thing. It's facing your teammates. And what he meant by that was there's nothing quite like the exhilaration of going into that locker room knowing that you protected in the last 15 minutes what your teammates took 2 hours and 30 minutes to accomplish. He said conversely, there's no worse feeling when you feel like you've let down yourself and your team when you let a lead get away or a game get away when you're the closer of a ball game.
Well, that's why emotionally it's by far the toughest job to do in the game, and that's why there are fewer great closers than any other single assignment you can have in the major leagues. If you look around baseball, you might be able to name 10 that you figure are 85 to 90% closers. There's a few that are a little better, like
what's that
the young fellow in Los Angeles who's gone 69 straight. Can you fathom 69 straight save opportunities converted by Eric Gagne?
And he's had some close calls too. I mean, it's not like every one of them's been a cheapie. He's remarkable. 1 ball, 1 strike to Womack. Tough man to double up. Again, it is a soggy track. Pulled foul, 1 and 2.
Well, there's another factor in a big decision for Dusty Baker. You got a guy in the on-deck circle, Ray Langford, who over the course of his career has crushed Matt Clement. Came in hitting .455, and he's 2 for 3. And so it's either Langford or probably Taguchi. I'd rather have Merker against Taguchi, all things considered.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Maybe Tony will ground into a double play.
That'd be nice. 1 and 2 now. Houston laying the lumber to the Reds. It's 10-3 Houston.
I think if Matt throws Tony a slider in the dirt inside, he's going to strike him out. Let's look at the taped fingers of Michael Barrett. That's a slider. He wants to throw it low and in without hitting it.
Ground ball towards second. There's one. Quick turn. They got him. Double play. Oh, and Matt Clement is pumped. 8 great innings for Clement. Dusty's hunch pays off. A little insurance forthcoming, we hope, as we go to the 9th.
maybe this isn't the best time to say it, but I think you're really beautiful.
Well, I've always been attracted to you too, Paul.
Wait, hold on one sec, babe. Excuse me?
Want to get away? Now you can. Fly Southwest Airlines nonstop from Chicago Midway to Manchester or Providence for just $79 each way.
You are now free to move about the country.
More and more people are winning with Hyundai, with more surprising standard features, more attention to detail, and more dedication to quality. Quality that lets Hyundai and Hyundai alone offer America's best warranty, 10 years, 100,000 miles. And you could save thousands of dollars over a comparable Honda or Toyota. So don't buy another car before you check out Hyundai. With Hyundai, you win. Get up to $2,000 cash back or 0% APR at your local Hyundai dealer.
We've always been a nation on the move, in a rush to go west, to be the first on the moon. Don't Fence Me In is chiseled into our national character. It's in our company's character as well. That's why Singular Wireless is such an important part of SBC. We are and will continue to be a very active and vital member of the most mobile society on Earth. SBC, going beyond the call.
This exciting Cubs finish is brought to you by New Finish, the once-a-year car polish.
This date in baseball history 13 years ago, Nolan Ryan with his 7th career no-hitter. This one with the Texas Rangers.
What was he, 56 then?
Man.
He could still get it up there.
Marlon Anderson stays in the game. He'll play second. Mike Matheny's behind the plate. Josh Pierce, the hard-throwing right-hander, on for the Cardinals. They're real excited about this kid coming up out of their system.
Well, the best part of last inning was the real dilemma for Dusty Baker would have been Langford. Because he's hit Clement so hard, the only way to avoid facing him was having a very speedy Tony Womack ground into a double play. And lo and behold, despite the fact that he hasn't grounded into one all year before that one, he hit it right on the nose to second, and 4-6-3 later, Langford will lead off the ninth.
So Pierce to face Derek Lee here.
This is his first appearance of the year.
Big kid out of the great state of Washington. And over the top, 1 ball, no strikes. His motion looks to me at first glance, and I haven't seen him pitch yet, like Matt Morris. That straight over the top delivery before Morris hurt his arm.
And it turned out to be a pretty good deal. Here's Seattle in the other league. Decides that they couldn't live without Tom Lampkin. In which case, because Lampkin was a type A free agent, they get a compensation pick and pick Pierce.
Driven down the right field line by Derek Lee. That's trouble if it's fair. It is. It's in the corner. Derek doesn't hesitate between first and second this time. He's got a stand-up double. A 2-hit ninth for him, and that's a big potential insurance run here in the 9th inning.
If Derek starts to heat it up, this becomes once again a very formidable offense. Finally, on their 6th attempt, the Cubs do keep it inside the lines. 2 for 3 for Derek tonight. That's a good sign.
So Alex Gonzalez's job here, get Lee to third base here.
Hey, if you don't think you can hit it to the right side, then bunt it right at Rolla.
Alex, you'll recall last night, tried to lay down a bunt, and it was a very, very poor effort. It also was in the 9th inning. It was also with Lee on base. A little bunt that bounced in front of the plate. Mike Matheny pounced on it, started a 2-4-6 double play.
Joe Borowski loosening in the pen. He's 5 for 5 in saves.
Driven right center field. Get out ball, and it is. Edmonds picks it up. Lee around third. No play, and the Cubs get that big insurance run. was a beautifully executed at bat. The results speak for themselves, but the way it was hit and where it was hit, Steve, textbook work.
Well, he went up with the idea of hitting this ball to right field. And regardless of the resolution of that at bat, it was a real good thought process, as Alex, you can see, just dragging that bat a little bit and inside outing this ball to right center, knowing that you've got the wet ball, the heavy footing, and the good speed of Lee made it a no-brainer. And Wendell sent him, and the Cubs have a 3-run lead. And that is
4-1.
Indeed a huge run, because you're facing the middle of the order coming up.
Michael Barrett, a 5-game hitting streak. He singled in the 7th inning. His average at .361 for a number 8 hitter in the National League. That's remarkable. He too tries to bunt. That one in for a strike. Braves and Rockies tied 5-5. Milwaukee's come all the way back to get to within a run of the Pirates, 7-6 at Miller Park.
Barrett is one of the few guys in this lineup where you can use the hit and run. And
a piece of debris has gotten loose in the right field corner. Arizona leads the Phillies 6-3 after 7. In the Phillies' new home. White Sox won game 1 of their double dip with Toronto. They trail in game 2 after 5. It's 7-5 Blue Jays. Yankees beat KC behind John Lieber tonight, 12-4 in the Bronx. And Barrett lays down a perfect bunt. Wet baseball, low throw, and it's dug out nicely by Albert Pujols at first. 1-3 the put out. At second is Gonzalez.
Matt Clement now is being called back.
And the Cub fans give him a standing O behind the visitors' dugout.
What a job he did tonight. It's been just a great year for Matt Clement. He's trying to run his record to 4-1. He went 8 innings, gave up 1 lone run, and he gave that up after facing the first 2 hitters of the night. After that, he was close to unhittable, and he limited this real good Cardinal offense to 5 hits overall. Great night for Clement.
So Jose Macias is the man who will be announced. Again, out pops the Cardinal Brain Trust. This time it's Tony La Russa. Had Ray King up and throwing in the bullpen, and they might go to him and make Macias hit from the right side here. Wisely, Macias and Todd Walker now go to the dugout, get out of the rain, and Pierce will get out of the rain too, surrendering a run on a couple of hits. Cubs 4, Cardinals 1. We're in the 9th, looking good in game 2 of this big series in St. Louis.
Buick Truck Fest. We're not just a car company anymore. Buick Rendezvous. SUV versatility, great ride. Delivering a sensational EPA estimated 24 miles per gallon highway. Use Truck Fest bonus cash to lease the luxurious Rendezvous CX for around $269 a month. Call for details. Rendezvous, around $269 a month. Truck Fest at your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Buick dealer.
On the farm, a lot of times you need to get power to a place where there is none. Well, no one is better equipped to help you out than us. Okay, Larry. Well, alrighty then. Hit it. When you can generate your own power, that's freedom.
Check this out.
Stoney, the Cardinals were looking in the offseason for a left-hander who could take the ball virtually every day, and they found him from Atlanta. Former Cub Ray King, already pitching now in his 13th game of the season. This is number 23 for the Cardinals this year.
Well, he appeared in last night's game, and the line looks pretty impressive. 2/3 of an inning, and he didn't give up anything. However, his wild pitch, a ball that got by Matheny, tied up the game and ensured that Woody Williams couldn't win it. So with Joe Borowski still loosening up, and it for the moment is still a safe situation depending on what happens with Alex, who's out at second base. Jose Macias out to face the ever-present Ray King.
4-1. Cubs have the lead. That's upstairs. 4-1. Ray was very nicely featured in the St. Louis newspapers yesterday, and don't let his physique fool you. This guy has turned into a real solid left-handed relief pitcher.
Well, the fact that he can pitch every day is certainly a huge plus for them.
One ball, one strike.
He is a large man.
That got everybody at the plate. Macias fouled it off his foot, caught Matheny in the backside, and ended up at the feet of Larry Young. King desires a new baseball. Again tomorrow. It's game 3 of 4. Carlos Zambrano and Matt Morris. We spoke earlier about the Cardinals pitching staff's proclivity to give up home runs here. Morris has given up a ton of them in this ballpark. For St. Louis. Popped up back toward us. Morris has given up 9 home runs already this year. 7 of them here.
And considering that we're at May 1st and that Carlos Zambrano, I believe all of last year, gave up 7, you can tell that Matt probably is not keeping the ball down as well as he would like.
That's in the air down the left field line. Long run for Rowland and company. And did he come up?
He did.
Oh, what a grab by Rowland. Soggy track, raindrops, the stands closing in. What a play, a Gold Glove play.
That was really a special effort by Rowland. He's the only one who could get close to that. He outsprinted Renteria. Langford had no chance, and he was able to spear it. You see, he looked up to see where he was, making sure to avoid the ball boy. What an effort by Scott Rowland. That was a real good play.
So Alex Gonzalez still out at second base. 2 outs now for Todd Walker. Lefty hook up here. Ball outside.
Well, it hasn't been the best of nights for Walker. He's been held to 0 for 4. Hit the ball very hard in the 3rd inning, but Edmonds made a good play in center. So maybe he'll enjoy the lefty-lefty matchup. He didn't do anything with Supan through 8 innings.
Hello, 2 balls, no strikes. You always want to perform well against the team that sent you packing. Ray King, a former Cub.
Well, he's a former a few things.
Yes.
The Cubs are one of them. The Brewers, the Braves, and another stop or 2 along the way.
2-0. Matheny framed it. That's where he wanted it, but it was off the plate. Now King with a long look in toward Larry Young, whose temper's probably a little bit short. He's been out there a long time tonight.
Well, you would say, why the long face Ray, but it's a little wider than length. And that was a strike that caught the inside corner. And I'll tell you what, Todd Walker thought that one curved around the plate.
Three-one pitch. And with the last pitch coming in and called a strike, he had no choice but to make sure it wasn't called.
If that one was a strike, you better protect.
A big insurance run already across in the Cub ninth. 3-2. Fly ball left field pretty deep. That'll chase Langford back. And on the soggy track, he'll make the grab to retire the side. A run on 2 hits. Into the bottom of the 9th we go. Langford, Pujols, and Edmonds coming up with the Cubs in front by 3.
With XM satellite radio.
Find hotel.
Bluetooth wireless technology.
Dial.
And voice-activated navigation.
Do you need directions?
No thanks. I got them.
You are not alone. Introducing the all-new 270 horsepower Acura TL.
If you're thinking about a new garage, this could be the time. Now you can own a Danley, the world's finest quality garage, and get a garage door opener free with 2 remote controls. Just call 773-GARAGES right now. Call 773-GARAGES right now and get a free garage door opener and 2 remote controls with the Danley garage of your choice. But don't wait too long.
Danley's Garage World. Danley.
Depend on Danley.
Rusty, I feel the need.
Not right now.
No, Rusty, I feel the need.
Girls, if you feel the need for speed, let's go to Chicagoland Speedway.
Here's your chance to see the stars of NASCAR, ARCA, and Indy racing. Feel the need for NASCAR July 10th and 11th. Feel the need for ARCA and Indy racing on September 11th and 12th. Act now to reserve your track-packed all the great racing action by calling 815-727-RACE or visit ChicagolandSpeedway.com.
Are you feeling the need?
Well, Stoney, a tough choice for our Hyundai player. Matt Clement pitched so beautifully, but he wouldn't have the lead were it not for the heroics of Aramis Ramirez at the plate tonight.
At the time, it was only the 2nd Cub hit, but I would have to lobby for Hyundai players of the game because Matt Clement, in very difficult conditions against a real good offense, was brilliant. So Joe Borowski comes in, and Joe is trying to make it 6 for 6 in save situations. This one won't be easy because he's got the heart of the order in Langford, Pujols, and Edmonds, and if anybody gets on, Scott Rowland. And there is a young Cub fan that probably wants to pick up a 1/3 of an inning or so. He figures he can get the save.
Well, let's hope Joe can. He'll face Langford first, who's 2 out of 3 with the only St. Louis run batted in. Most of the Cardinal fans have headed for their coops in the suburbs.
But it's the hardy Cub fans that stay on through all of the rain, the mist, and the inclement conditions. Plus, it's about 45 right now.
And the Clement conditions, quite honestly.
And they were very good tonight.
Yes, sir. 4-1 your score. Here's Borowski. I tell you what, it is great coming to this place and seeing the Cubs play good ball games back to back. That hasn't always been the case. This series this season is going to be just great to watch. And as you said early in the telecast, it's important for the psyche of the Cubs to prove to themselves that they can play good baseball and play winning baseball in this park.
Yeah, I mean, they know they can play with or better than the Cardinals at Wrigley Field. They proved that in what was the defining series of the year last year in the 5-game series there. But since 2000, the luck here has been horrendous.
Popped up out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Ray Langford.
So if you come down here before you lose that first game, you think the worst you want to come out of here is splitting. You win this one tonight, if the Cubs can hang on, and you would think that Joe could, then you're 1-1 heading into Matt Morris tomorrow. But you've also moved up. Tell you how important Dusty Baker thinks he's moved Maddox to the 4th game. And that's
backdoor. 1 down. That's the pitch, Stoney, that we've been waiting, and Joe, frankly, has been waiting to sharpen up. And that's the pitch that was so successful last year.
Well, he's 5 for 5 without the ability to hone in the outside corner with the slider. So when that one starts to move for him, and Barrett does a nice job of having his glove, the catcher's glove, you put, if you're sitting on the outside corner, the thumb of the glove over the corner and the rest of the glove outside the strike zone. Then when you hit it, you actually get a couple inches outside. So Barrett did a nice job of getting Joe just a little bit more on the outside corner.
Was Rick Dempsey the best you ever saw at framing that particular pitch the way that Borowski throws it? Popped up back toward us and again in the seats.
Well, all catchers
frame it, and they cheat a little bit,
I mean,
sure,
but all catchers will, if they're sitting outside, right-hander to right-hander, they'll sit with the little pinky part of the glove on the plate, and the rest of the glove is outside. And if you hit the glove, you're actually getting a couple of inches. It's the same thing inside with the thumb of the glove.
Ball too low to Pujols. 2 balls and a strike with Edmonds waiting next.
Well, that's why
9 in St. Louis.
That's why the run was so important that you pick up in the 9th, because if Pujols gets on, you don't score that run. Edmonds represents the tying run. Now he doesn't.
Ball 3 to Pujols. 4 runs, 9 hits for the Cubs, 1-5-0 for the Cardinals. Neither team has committed a defensive miscue to this point in the game. Broken bat, and it's over the shortstop. Wow. Pujols destroys the bat, but has a 7-game hit streak and a 1-for-4 night. A 9th inning single keeps it alive for St. Louis.
You saw the bat shatter, and he carried the bat with him to first base, and then disdainfully threw it away. And he also whacked Barrett with it on the recoil. Fortunately, he hit him with only half the bat.
That tells you how strong he is. The bat shatters, and he hits that ball 8 feet over Alex's head. Here's Edmonds. He doubled in the 4th inning.
And now if Edmonds is thinking about that home run, it would still be a 1-run deficit. And you got to figure he's thinking about that.
5 homers, 16 driven in for the Cardinals center fielder.
Interested spectator in Matt Clement.
The spot to go get him. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Cub fans want to see this one put to bed and then worry about tomorrow. And there's a lot of them still around.
More fun tomorrow and more fun Monday. Monday's game here on Fox as we wrap up the series. Maddox and Marquis. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Jim Edmonds.
Well, Edmonds has had no luck with Borowski because he's basically a high fastball pitcher. 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Nice trend to continue. Don't get too much of the plate with that backdoor slider. None of the plate with that one.
3-2. Cub fans not happy with that call.
They're
now
booing Larry Young. But that one was well wide of the plate.
Big pitch in the game.
And this is, to date, probably the biggest pitch in the game.
Fly ball out of play. Edmonds keeps the at-bat alive here. If he gets on, Roland could represent the tying run for St. Louis in the 9th.
And Roland, somewhat amazingly, a very good hitter, but 0 for 9 against Borowski. He's had a good run against both of these fellows that he has to get by. Now, with the footing as heavy as it is, if Edmonds will oblige by hitting a ground ball, they can turn 2 and go home.
Tying runs coming to the plate, though. Now Michael Barrett sees the exasperation on Borowski's face. And And that's the loneliest feeling in the world, I'm sure. You get the game to the 9th inning and it's out of your hands. That's what Matt Clement's watching happen here. 2 on, 1 out. Here's Rolen, the RBI leader for the Cardinals in April. He had 27 of them.
Larry Rothschild calling down to the bullpen. He wants to have somebody loosened up just in case. Not much thunder left on the bench for the Cardinals, but LaTroy Hawkins loosening up in a hurry.
Cut on and missed. Strike 1 to Rolen. Again, 0 for 9 against Joe Borowski. Cardinals have hit into 3 double plays tonight. We'd love one off the bat of the St. Louis third baseman. Little roller toward third. Step on the bag. The throw across. The stretch by Lee not in time. Rolen rolls into a forced play. There are 2 outs now, and it's Edgar Renteria, who again has not had good luck with men at second and third base for St. Louis this year.
Well, nice idea by Ramirez, who's got a strong arm. It's an off-balance throw. Odds are overwhelming you're not going to get Rolen at first. And Derek Lee did a real good job. He knew he couldn't stay on the bag and catch the short hop. His first responsibility was to go get the baseball.
Listen to those Cub fans. 1 more out to get. This is just great.
It's been 2 great games. This is a little too exciting, though.
Walt Jocketty, the Cardinal general manager, quoted after the game last night as everyone asked him, what'd you think of that game? He said, I can finally catch my breath. I mean, for 3 hours, everybody on the edge of the seat. Same story tonight in game 2. A pop-up on a bunt try by Renteria. 1 ball, 1 strike. He was thinking maybe if he couldn't hit Borowski to set it up for Sanders, who's hit 8 home runs this year.
Well, Sanders is the lone guy in this entire dugout for the Cardinals who's had a home run against Joe Borowski. And he figured with everybody back in the infield, it was a good play. But he doesn't have a bunt hit this year.
1-1 pitch. Line drive, base hit left field. Here comes Edmonds around third. Cubs will concede that run. It's 4-2, and here indeed is Sanders. Rolen had to stop at second. And it gets very interesting now. Again, that man paid to make tough decisions. Does he ride Borowski here, or does he go to Hawkins?
Well, for the moment, you're going to stay with Borowski. Wendell Kim now motioning that he wants the outfield to move over just a touch.
Popped up toward us. Strike 1 to Reggie Sanders.
Well, would you want it any other way if it ends out that the Cubs do indeed win this with Reggie Sanders making the last out? Got Matheny in the on-deck circle.
Anything worth having's worth working for, that's for sure. That's easy for us to say, though. We're not managing or playing. No balls and a strike. Cubs by 2 now in the 9th. Got the corner, 0-2.
Now Sanders hasn't hit that slider all night. Clement struck him out in the 5th and the 7th on that pitch right there. I wouldn't suggest necessarily throwing it for a strike at 0-2, but it's a real good place for it. And then you have to assume that Barrett's going to block it to keep the winning run off second base.
The 0-2 pitch just did get a piece of the seam. to stay alive.
Threw that slider, he threw it off the plate, but didn't get it quite as low as he would like it. Well, let's see if Barrett calls for the fastball up and in.
Runners lead, the 2-strike pitch. Sanders laid off that time. Mike Matheny's waiting on deck. Let's worry about him tomorrow.
Yeah, one of the big problems is you've got a guy that has looked away this entire at bat. You can keep going there, but if you make a mistake away, then you have some problems. Throw the high heat by him, Joe.
And now Barrett out for a chat. Alex Gonzalez will join the conversation. He too might go to the rosin bag. Let's see.
Well, I think what happened is Barrett signaled that he wanted it in. Borowski, at least for the moment, wanted it low and away, but it is 1-2. I wouldn't mind seeing him take at least one shot in. Get maybe an anxious Sanders up and out of the strike zone, swinging right through it.
It's a game of cat and mouse. One and two now.
He didn't get it in, though. That Reggie got a good look at it and realized it was up and out of the strike zone.
2 balls, 2 strikes. That 27th and final out. The toughest out in the game. Rolling at second. Renteria at first. They represent the tying runs. The 2-2. He got him swinging. There's the slider that Sanders has missed all night. This series is tied. Cubs win it 4-2. Another thriller by the river in St. Louis. Pardon us while we catch our breath. What a game. The Cubs hold serve in game 2. Matt Clement absolutely brilliant. Borowski gets it done in the 9th inning. Aramis Ramirez a big 4th inning home run. And how large was that insurance run in the 9th for the Cubs as well?
Well, it gave Joe a little breathing room, and he throws the slider after setting him up with the high fastball. Barrett does a great job of smothering the baseball as he had done all night. The Cub dugout erupts knowing that this was a big win for them. It's 1-1 heading in tomorrow, and Matt Clement was brilliant tonight, and so was Aramis Ramirez with a 3-run homer. That was the margin of victory in the end.
So Dave and Gale, this was just a classic game. Great pitching,